Well, good evening, everyone. I'm Pete Eberle with the Colorado Renewable Energy Society, and I want to thank you all for joining us here tonight. For those of you who are new to our events, CRES and its local chapters provide education, policy advocacy, and community engagement that accelerate Colorado towards a carbon neutral future powered by 100% renewable energy. Founded in 1996, CRES is a statewide, nonpartisan 501c3 organization that's supported by our sustaining members, individual donors, and our business sponsors. You can sign up for our newsletter, event announcements, social media, and become a member or donor at www.cres-energy.org. That's CRES-energy.org. Also, make sure to check out our YouTube channel, where we have over 255 previously recorded presentations, and we'll eventually have this one published, that have seen over 1.4 million views. Additionally, CRES is a field of membership partner with the Clean Energy Credit Union. So if you are a sustaining member of CRES, you do have access to join the credit union and get access to their financial services. I do want to give a quick thanks to our gigawatt and megawatt business sponsors, Moss Adams, Sinton Instruments, Kelly Government Solutions, ProLift Rigging, Solaris Energy, Poudre Valley Rural Electric Association, and Platte River Power Authority. I also want to give special thanks to SWEEP, the Southwest Energy Efficiency Project, for helping us promote this event and getting a lot of folks registered. Before we get going, a couple of event announcements. Coming up on Thursday, September 19th, How to Finance Climate Solutions. This will be 7 to 8 p.m. at the Alliance Center in downtown Denver. It will be obviously an in-person event, but it will be live streamed. And then on Tuesday, September 22nd, 6:30 p.m. at Odell Brewing in Fort Collins, Colorado, we're going to have our friends with the CSU Energy Institute give an update on the state of biofuels and biofuels research. Then on Thursday, September 26, 7 p.m. in Golden, Colorado at the Jefferson Unitarian Church, we will have homeowner experiences with energy conservation, heat pumps, and rooftop solar. So that would be a great event to follow up on this one, to have some in-person interaction. Again, that'll be Golden on September 26th. That might be live stream, but we're not sure yet. You can go to, oh, hold on one second. We do have additional events before I tell you to go back to the website. Upcoming topics will include grid enhancing technologies for transmission, a policy update for everything going on policy-wise here in Colorado, and an update on the Colorado Energy Office's geothermal roadmap. So to keep your eye open for those events, go to cres-energy.org and click on the events tab. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over to Owen Vogel of Clean Energy Credit Union.
Hello, Colorado Renewable Energy Society. Welcome and thank you so much for joining us. Before we dive into today's topic, I want to take a moment really quick to recognize the significance of this day, which is September 11th. I know many of us here today on this call remember exactly where we were when we heard about the events of that day. For me, it's a moment I'll never forget. I was in Mrs. Lucchetti's 7th grade science class when the news broke. It's a moment that a lot of us remember very vividly. So today we take a moment to remember the lives lost, honor the bravery of those first responders, and reflect on the unity and the powerful sense of national pride that followed. And I encourage everyone to carry that spirit forward in everything we do. So with that, let's get started. My name is Owen Vogel, and I am so excited to be here with y'all tonight. I am the Renewable Energy Market and Program Director at Clean Energy Credit Union. And today we're going to dive into something really, really impactful, the Inflation Reduction Act, or the IRA. But don't worry, we're not going to just throw around a bunch of legislation jargon. We're going to unpack what this really means for you and how it can affect your home, your community, and your wallet. The Inflation Reduction Act is packed with opportunities that can help you save money, make your home more energy efficient, and even reduce your carbon footprint. Whether you're looking into going solar, getting an electric vehicle, or just making your home cozier while saving on your energy bills, there's something here for everyone. And as a Colorado resident, you have some really unique opportunities that can stack up with federal incentives, making the switch to clean energy more affordable than ever. Before we get into the nitty gritty, I want to introduce Clean Energy Credit Union, a place I am so proud to work at. We're not your typical financial institution. We are a mission-driven, nationwide, not-for-profit credit union solely focused on financing clean energy projects. Our mission is to make clean energy more accessible to all by offering low-interest loans specifically for things like solar installations, energy efficient home projects, and electric vehicles. Since our founding in 2017, we've funded over 12,500 clean energy loans, and we're just getting started. Our approach is pretty simple. When you save or borrow with us, your money directly supports green projects nationwide. We're focused on people lowering their carbon footprint while making these technologies more accessible to everyone. So if you've ever thought about going solar, upgrading to an EV, or installing a heat pump, we're here to guide you every step of the way. I also want to point out, as Peter mentioned, that Colorado Renewable Energy Society is part of Clean Energy Credit Union's field of membership. Credit unions serve specific groups based on a common bond, like employment, location, or an association membership. And as a CREST member, you're eligible to join our credit union and access financing tailored to clean energy projects. So a little bit more about Clean Energy Credit Union and where we are today. We have grown to support over 9,000 members nationwide, and together we've funded more than $250 million in clean energy projects. That's not just members, it translates to real impacts, like reducing CO2 emissions by nearly 950 tons. We've financed everything from home solar systems to electric vehicles to geothermal heat pumps and even e-bikes. Our members are people just like you and me who want to make a positive impact on the environment while also making smart financial decisions for their households. And the best part about it, every single loan we provide helps grow the clean energy market, making these technologies more mainstream and more accessible. So tonight we're going to be covering the following incentives under the Inflation Reduction Act, as well as Colorado specific ones. First, we're going to go into federal, and then we're going to talk about the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. And last, and my favorite of the presentation, is the Colorado specific programs that y'all can take advantage of. All right, so let's dive into the main event tonight, which is the Inflation Reduction Act, or the IRA. If you watched the debate last night, or even the debate before, you might have heard it being mentioned, which was really cool. The Inflation Reduction Act was passed in August of 2022, and this legislation is the biggest investment in climate and energy in US history, $369 billion to be exact. It's designed to cut greenhouse gas emissions by 40% by 2030. And it's doing this by investing heavily in clean energy, energy efficiency, and climate resilience. But what does this mean for you? It means that there are huge opportunities out there to make your home greener and your energy bills smaller. The Inflation Reduction Act offers a range of incentives from tax credits to rebates designed to make clean energy more affordable for everyone. Not just big companies or government entities, but everyday homeowners and renters too. And the IRA isn't just about environmental impact. It's also about economic growth. The funding is driving new jobs in manufacturing, installation, maintenance of clean energy technologies, and so much more. So when you're taking advantage of these incentives, you're not just saving money, you're contributing to a growing green economy. All right, so let's break down some key components of the Inflation Reduction Act. This legislation covers 4 main areas: clean energy, electric vehicles, energy efficiency, and environmental justice. The first one, clean energy. The Investment Reduction Act invests billions of dollars in solar, wind, and other renewable energy sources. It provides incentives to increase the use of clean energy nationwide, not just on a utility scale, but also for individual homeowners. In terms of electric vehicles, the Inflation Reduction Act includes up to $7,500 in tax credits for new electric vehicles and up to $4,000 for used ones, expanding the market for electric cars and making them more affordable. Next, energy efficiency. From heat pumps to insulation and windows, the Inflation Reduction Act provides rebates and tax credits for making homes more energy efficient. These upgrades can reduce your heating and cooling bills, saving you money in the long run. And last, but certainly not least, is environmental justice. The Inflation Reduction Act dedicates resources to underserved communities to ensure that everyone can benefit from clean energy, regardless of income level or location. This is making sure that no one is left behind in the clean energy transition. So let's talk a little bit about impact today. And the impact to date is not all covered in this slide, but I wanted to highlight a little bit about what it's done for clean energy manufacturing in the United States. Since its passage, we've seen a surge in clean energy manufacturing. Billions of dollars has been invested in new factories and facilities all over the country, including solar panel manufacturing plants, battery storage facilities, EV assembly lines, and a lot more. This investment isn't just creating new technologies, it's creating a lot of jobs. These factories are employing thousands of workers, providing good paying jobs in the growing clean energy sector. Plus, we're seeing strides in reducing emissions already. Solar installations are up, EV sales are rising, and energy efficiency upgrades are becoming more common in homes and businesses alike. So one of the most significant benefits of the Inflation Reduction Act is the array of tax incentives available for homeowners. The biggest draw is the Residential Clean Energy Credit, which provides a 30% tax credit on things like solar panels, battery storage, and geothermal heating systems. What's great is that this credit applies to all costs associated with the installation, including labor, permitting, and even some equipment upgrades. This federal tax credit is currently available until 2032. But I also want to point out that these tax credits, they reduce your tax liability when you file your taxes. Make sure to keep all your receipts, all your documentation from your installer, and work with a tax professional if you're unsure about the process. All right, so now we're going to talk about the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. One of the most transformative elements of the Inflation Reduction Act is the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund. This historic $27 billion fund is designed to combat climate change by reducing greenhouse gas emissions and increasing clean energy access, especially in low-income and underserved communities that have been historically left behind. The Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund goes beyond funding large-scale projects. It empowers local communities to take charge of their clean energy futures. The fund is split into 3 main programs, which the first is the National Clean Investment Fund, the Clean Communities Investment Accelerator, and Solar for All. Each of them focus on supporting initiatives that directly impact communities, from community solar projects that make clean energy more affordable to grants that build out EV charging networks in rural and urban areas alike. What makes the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund so impactful is it focuses on local solutions. Whether it's providing small businesses with loans for clean transportation options or financing energy efficiency upgrades in existing buildings, the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund supports initiatives that save money, create jobs, and improve public health. So, like I said earlier, the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund is broken up into 3 programs: the National Clean Investment Fund, the Clean Communities Investment Accelerator, and Solar for All. So let's dive a little bit into each of them. So the first one I want to talk about today is the National Clean Investment Fund. This $14 billion program provides low-cost financing to accelerate the deployment of large-scale clean energy projects, such as solar farms, wind energy installations, and energy storage solutions. These projects are crucial in driving major reductions in greenhouse gas emissions and helping to decarbonize the power sector. But the National Clean Investment Fund won't just finance big projects. It also stimulates billions in private investment, creating jobs in construction, maintenance, and clean energy production. By targeting large-scale initiatives, this program will make renewable energy more affordable and accessible, supporting projects that significantly cut carbon emissions and contribute to our national climate goals. So I want to get into some of the recipients for the National Clean Investment Fund. The first major recipient for the National Clean Investment Fund is Climate United, which has been awarded $6.97 billion. Climate United Fund's mission is to accelerate clean energy adoption by offering standardized financial products for projects like energy efficient homes, electrification upgrades, and solar installations. They focus on underserved communities, dedicating over 60% of their investments to low-income, rural, and tribal areas. The funds from Climate United Fund will flow directly into communities through loans, grants, and financial products designed to make clean energy upgrades affordable. By working with local governments, nonprofits, and private sector partners, Climate United Fund aims to maximize the reach of these funds, helping more households and businesses accelerate the benefits of clean energy. The next recipient is Coalition for Green Capital. They received $5 billion. Coalition for Green Capital will operate the first U.S. national green bank, focusing on investing directly in clean energy projects and creating a network of green lenders across all 50 states. This network is critical for scaling up clean energy investments, particularly in low-income and disadvantaged communities. Funds from Coalition for Green Capital will flow into projects like solar farms, energy storage solutions, EV infrastructure, and they're going to do this by working with regional and local green banks. This structure will ensure that the money reaches projects on the ground quickly and efficiently, helping to drive down emissions and create green jobs where they are needed most. And the next recipient is Power Forward Communities, which were awarded $2 billion. Power Forward Communities is dedicated to decarbonizing American housing by providing financing for energy efficient upgrades and electrification in both single family and multifamily homes. They focus particularly on underserved communities, ensuring that everyone has access to the benefits of clean energy improvements. Power Forward Communities will use these funds to offer low interest loans and grants directly to homeowners, landlords, and community organizations, making energy efficient upgrades more accessible. Their goal is to drive down energy costs for households while contributing to broader climate goals, creating a ripple effect of benefits throughout communities. All right, so the second program we're going to talk about from the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund tonight is the Clean Communities Investment Accelerator. The Clean Communities Investment Accelerator is a $6 billion initiative designed to empower communities by funding local clean energy projects in low-income and underserved areas. This program provides critical financial support for a variety of community-driven projects, including energy efficiency upgrades, community solar, and EV charging infrastructure, with the goal of making clean energy more accessible to those who need it most. So why does this matter? First, It promotes environmental justice by directing funding to communities most affected by pollution and climate change, ensuring that clean energy benefits reach those often left behind. Second, it helps reduce energy costs, lowering utility bills for low-income households through community solar and energy efficiency upgrades, easing the financial burden on families. And lastly, it empowers local economies by supporting projects that create jobs, stimulate small-scale investments, and build sustainable infrastructure. Examples of projects by this accelerator will include community solar gardens that provide shared solar energy to neighborhoods, energy efficient retrofits and affordable housing, and then EV charging stations in rural areas. So let's go through a few of the recipients of this accelerator. The first major recipient of the Clean Communities Investment Accelerator is the Opportunity Finance Network. They were awarded $2.29 billion. Opportunity Finance Network plays a critical role in supporting community lenders, particularly those financing projects that reduce emissions in low-income areas. This funding helps expand financial products for green energy projects, such as distributed solar installations and net zero building upgrades. By providing capital to community lenders, Opportunity Finance Network ensures that the benefits of clean energy reach those who need it most, supporting a diverse range of local projects that reduce energy costs and promote environmental sustainability. Next, we have Inclusive, which received $1.87 billion. Inclusive works closely with credit unions to provide green loans for a wide range of projects, including solar installations, EV charging stations, and energy efficient appliances, specifically for low-income communities. Their approach focuses on integrating green lending into financial institutions that serve traditionally underserved populations, making clean energy more accessible and affordable. So this funding is going to help expand their efforts, allowing more households to participate in the clean energy transition. Next is Climate Justice Fund. The Climate Justice Fund has been awarded $940 million to provide capital and technical assistance to community lenders focusing on clean energy projects within marginalized communities. The funding is directed to overcoming barriers to clean energy adoption by ensuring that financial and technical resources are available where they're needed most. This not only helps reduce emissions, but also empowers local communities to take charge of their clean energy futures. Next is Appalachian Community Capital, who received $500 million to support clean energy financing in Appalachia and other rural areas. Appalachian Community Capital is a green bank for rural America, which focuses on financing projects that promote economic revitalization through clean energy. This includes solar installations, energy efficiency upgrades, and other sustainable initiatives that create jobs and improve the economic resilience in communities. And last but not least, the Native CDFI Network. They were awarded $400 million to support Native community development financial institutions that provide clean energy financing to Native communities. This funding addresses the unique needs of Native populations, offering targeted financial support for projects like residential solar, energy efficient home improvements, and sustainable community infrastructure. The goal is to enhance energy independence and environmental sustainability in Native communities. And the third program of the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund is Solar for All. Solar for All is a really bold $7 billion initiative that aims to expand access to affordable solar energy for low-income households and disadvantaged communities. This program will provide funding to deploy residential rooftop and community solar projects that reduce energy costs and promote energy independence. The focus will be on making solar energy more accessible through community-driven projects and partnerships with local governments, nonprofits, and community lenders. Solar for All will promote energy equity by ensuring that solar energy reaches underserved communities, helping bridge the gap in clean energy access and contributing to environmental justice. It's going to help lower energy bills for low-income families by providing access to solar energy, which will help reduce the financial burden of electricity expenses, which are going up year after year. Additionally, this initiative is going to support local job creation in the clean energy sector, driving economic growth through solar system installations and providing workforce training opportunities in these communities, which is so huge. Looking ahead, we're going to see the impact of Solar for All through various projects like community solar initiatives that will allow households to benefit from solar energy without installing panels on their homes. It's also going to help out low-income solar programs that will subsidize installations for homeowners. There's going to be a really strong emphasis on solar workforce training programs, and that's going to provide job placement in the solar industry, focusing on underserved communities. Additionally, we will see rooftop solar for public housing and solar plus storage projects integrating solar power with battery storage to enhance grid resilience in underserved neighborhoods. So let's talk about the recipients for Solar for All. The Solar for All program, as I said previously, distributes $7 billion to 60 recipients, including state and local governments, tribal nations, nonprofits, and community organizations, all focusing on expanding solar access in low income and underserved communities. All right, so let's zoom in on Colorado. As a resident of this great state, y'all have access to some really unique incentives that can be combined with federal programs. For instance, Xcel Energy's Solar Rewards program offers performance-based incentives for solar installations, while the state offers rebates on heat pumps, EVs, and more. As I began to dive into this webinar, it was eye-opening to see how many rebates, incentive programs are available in the state of Colorado. And coming as someone who lives in the state of South Carolina and has previously lived in Colorado, I might have had some second thoughts on my move because these incentives aren't all available in South Carolina. So it's really, really cool that y'all get to take advantage of them. So I wanted to include a glossary of green products, why they matter. These green products are really driving energy savings and the environmental benefits in homes and communities. Each of these products plays a really critical role in advancing energy efficiency, cutting costs, and supporting our transition to a more sustainable future. All right, so Colorado solar incentives. For this slide, we're going to highlight some key programs and what they offer without going into every single detail on all of them. There is a lot to unpack here, but it's a good problem to have, honestly. Colorado offers a variety of solar incentives to help residents and business owners lower the cost of installing solar. Programs like Xcel Energy Solar Rewards and Holy Cross Energy Solar Rebate provide significant financial assistance per kilowatt of installed solar. Local utilities like Fort Collins Utilities and Colorado Springs Utilities also offer rebates that can cover a portion of your installation costs. And additionally, property and sales tax exemptions make solar even more affordable and ensures that the value added by solar installations does not increase your property assessments, which is huge. So I want to go into a solar cost breakdown example. And I did this by county for the few examples that we're going to talk about today. And in this example, a resident of Denver County wants to purchase a new solar system for their home. Now, they go out and they get a quote, and that initial sticker price is $20,000 in this example. Right off the bat, we take it into account the federal tax credit of $6,000 or 30% of that initial cost. Then, as a Colorado and Denver resident, they're able to take advantage of the Denver Climate Action Rebate for an additional $4,000. Then, on top of that, they take advantage of the Xcel Energy Solar Rewards program for an additional $1,000. And last but not least, the Colorado sales tax exemption for $580. So the net cost after savings is $8,420. That's 58% off. And as someone who likes good deals, that's a really good deal. So that's, when you break down the numbers and you put it, right in front of you, it's really, really eye-opening how many incentives that you can take advantage of by going green. So Colorado also offers a variety of rebates and incentives to encourage energy efficiency upgrades to make your home more comfortable, but more energy efficient and reduce your monthly utility costs. We have the Xcel Energy Home Performance with Energy Star. There's Efficiency Works from Fort Collins. But what I really want to hone in on is the Colorado State Heat Pump Tax Credit. I went through a lot of tax credits, rebates, and incentives while putting together this webinar, but the Colorado State Heat Pump Tax Credit is phenomenal. It offers up to $3,000 for ground source heat pumps, $1,500 for air source heat pumps, and $500 for heat pump water heaters. So in this next example, we're going to talk about a home efficiency cost breakdown. And in this example, a resident of Arapahoe County wants to purchase a new high efficiency in-ground heat pump system. Now, the initial cost, and the sticker price, is $15,000. So right off the bat, we want to factor in the 30% federal tax credit. So that knocks off $4,500 off the cost. Next, they are eligible for the Colorado State Heat Pump Tax Credit for an additional $3,000. And last but not least, the Xcel Energy Rebate for an additional $2,000. The net cost after savings is $5,500. That's 63% off the sticker price. Colorado is also making electric vehicle ownership more accessible through various incentives. The Colorado State EV tax credit provides up to $5,000 for new electric vehicles, with an additional $2,500 for lower cost models, significantly broadening the affordability of electric vehicles. Xcel Energy offers income qualified rebates up to $5,500 for new EV purchases. Programs like Colorado Vehicle Exchange encourages trading in old gas vehicles for new electric vehicles, with further rebates from Gunnison County and San Isabel Electric Association. There are so many opportunities. Also, I found there are so many charging incentives within the state of Colorado. Utilities like Empire Electric, La Plata Electric, and Xcel Energy provide rebates for home and public level 2 chargers, covering significant portions of installation costs. Programs from associations such as Highline Electric and San Miguel Power support local communities in building the EV charging infrastructure needed to support this growing market. Additional incentives for EV chargers include rebates from Mountain View Electric and Mountain Parks Electric, helping offset costs for EV chargers and public installations. All right, we're going to do another cost breakdown. And this cost breakdown, and in this example, a resident of Boulder County wants to purchase a brand new Chevrolet Bolt. Now, the initial cost and sticker price of this new Chevrolet Bolt is $27,000 in this example. So right off the bat, they want to take advantage of the federal electric vehicle tax credit, which is $7,500. Also, they are eligible for the Colorado State Electric Vehicle Tax Credit for $5,000. But what makes this example even better is that they are also eligible for an additional $2,500 off because this vehicle is under $35,000. Last but not least, they take advantage of the Boulder County Sustainability Rebate, which is installing energy efficient charging equipment, and that's an extra $1,000. So the net cost after savings is $11,000. That's 59% off. As someone who's in the market for a new vehicle, I would take this tomorrow. Really, really exciting stuff and just mind-boggling. So, how to get started? Getting started with clean energy upgrades can really seem overwhelming, but here's a step-by-step guide to help you navigate through the process. First, you're going to want to research available incentives. There are so many great resources out there, but I would recommend using resources like the DSIRE database and then also the Colorado Energy Office to find federal, state, and local incentives that you might qualify for, including county-specific programs. Next, find a certified installer or dealer. Work with approved contractors who understand the incentive process to ensure eligibility and maximize available rebates. Also, consider looking into getting an energy audit or assessment done for your home to find out what products best fit your individual needs. Next, apply for rebates and tax credits. Keep documentation for tax credits and work with your contractor or utility provider to secure point of sale discounts. As always, consult a tax professional to ensure you are eligible for any tax rebates. And next, register for future programs. Stay informed about upcoming rebates and programs that are coming down the pipeline. Sign up for email lists for updates from local sustainability offices and initiatives. And next, I want to dive into some resources to navigate some of these incentives. One that I really, really enjoy is Rewiring America. This is a fantastic source for navigating available incentives. This platform offers a user-friendly incentive calculator where you can input your household details like income, location, and energy interests to discover personalized electrification incentives that you might qualify for. It is a really, really great way to cut through the noise and find those specific rebates, tax credits, and other financial support available for your energy projects. Whether you're a homeowner or if you're a renter, Rewiring America helps you make the most of your clean energy journey. Next, I want to highlight is the database of state incentives for renewables and efficiency, or DSIRE. This database of state incentives for renewables and efficiency is one of the most comprehensive sources for information on policies, incentives, and programs supporting renewable energy and energy efficiency across the United States. By simply putting in your zip code, you can explore available incentives specific to your area, helping you identify the best opportunities to save on green energy investments. DSIRE is an essential tool for homeowners, renters, and businesses looking to maximize their savings and access the latest available incentives. And also the Colorado Energy Office. This website provides really, really valuable resources to help Colorado residents and businesses navigate energy incentives available across the state of Colorado. Their website offers detailed information on rebates, tax credits, and various programs aimed at promoting energy efficiency and renewable energy adoption. So whether you're looking for incentives for solar, for EV charging, or energy efficiency home upgrades, the Colorado Energy Office is a crucial resource for finding the latest opportunities to reduce costs and make informed decisions. Now, these are just 3 of many, many resources, I've included a list of about, I'd say 31 or 32 resources and links that are going to be sent out to y'all after this. So I really encourage y'all to take a look and see what's available. And I want to go into a look ahead and the future impacts of the Inflation Reduction Act. Future funding rounds will continue to support solar, wind, and other clean energy projects, reaching new communities and technologies. Expect new programs launching targeting energy storage, grid resilience, and energy efficiency home improvements. Also, we're going to see a lot of workforce and economic growth. This act will create around 1.5 million jobs by 2030 in the renewable energy sector as well as construction. Training investments will equip the workforce with skills needed for the green economy. And then also state and local impacts. We're going to see more tailored state programs and ongoing support for disadvantaged communities, ensuring equitable access to clean energy across the United States. So, as we conclude tonight's webinar, my hope is that it is a little more clear to you that the Inflation Reduction Act offers unprecedented opportunities to make a positive impact on our environment and our economy. By taking advantage of the federal tax credits, as well as these Colorado-specific rebates, incentives, and tax credits, you can significantly reduce your carbon footprint, lower your energy costs, and create a more sustainable future for generations to come. Remember, the key to success in all this lies in understanding the available incentives, finding qualified professionals, and taking the first step towards a cleaner, greener home. With the support of the Inflation Reduction Act and Colorado's robust incentive programs, y'all are well equipped to build a brighter future for yourselves and for generations to come. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. And now I want to open up to questions.
Well, Owen, thanks so much. And we do have some questions queued up here. So we'll get to the first one. Why did it take so long until the IRA credits for heat pump became available?
In the state of Colorado specifically?
I'm assuming, which is something I've heard not too long ago from the spring, that it was it a part of what was distributed to the states, which they then turned around to distribute?
So one recurring theme that I've learned in studying the Inflation Reduction Act is, it was initiated by the government, and what I find in either national government or local government, like the city of Charleston installing a park and a food forest down the road, is that they're slow, and it's taken a long time to roll out a lot of these programs. For instance, the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, a lot of those recipients are just now getting funding, and they're creating these programs that are going to funnel these funds down. But it's a slow but steady process. So while I can't directly answer specifically the heat pumps, I will follow up and do a little research myself on that. I would likely equate it to just the time it takes for government to do work every day. But thank you so much for that question, and I will definitely follow up with a more specific answer.
Owen, do you have a sense of unintended consequences for offering such high incentives other than driving up the blood pressure of conservatives? I'm wondering if HVAC companies are taking unfair advantage of the new demand. And I guess let's get into what we were discussing the other way in terms of unscrupulous contractors.
Yeah, so one thing that we want to look out for, especially when this kind of funding floods the marketplace, is folks taking advantage of opportunities. You're going to see this in a lot of shady sales tactics, folks trying to enter the market, fly-by-night companies. And that's why it's really, really important to do your due diligence whenever you start this process. You're talking to contractors that know what they're talking about, who this isn't their first rodeo. Now, unintended consequences, for the most part, what first springs to my mind is those bad actors that sort of blight an industry. And that happens in every realm of society and life in general. But if you know what to look for, if you do your due diligence, if you ask tough questions and keep folks accountable, I think that you're on the right track. But outside of that, this is just such an exciting investment in our future. And I'm really, really proud to be a very, very small part of it.
Okay, great. Question from Tom. The CEO office website says that the rebates are not available yet. Do you know when they will be? So I guess there's still, this feeds into what I've heard, that CEO is still working on some of the rebate items.
The
Colorado Energy
CEO
office.
They are so specific ones that are not available right now. Are we talking heat pumps? Are we talking electric vehicles? Or are we talking about a specific program?
Yeah, Tom, can you put in another question with the specific items, and then I'll get that in a second here. We just have a couple other questions in the queue. So here's a good question. How much of the IRA benefits apply to brand new building?
Brand new buildings. That is a very good question. And I did not uncover that or run across that in my research, but I will look into that. That is a great question.
Yeah, I'm just going to throw a guess out there. I'm pretty sure solar and I would suspect, like, it'd be interesting to see. I'm not sure about heat pumps, but I'm pretty sure solar is available for new builds.
And one thing to keep in mind is these funds are allocated. So, we don't know how they're going to sort of fall in line with who's going to take advantage of them. Are we going to see a surge in electric vehicle credits? Are we going to see a surge in renewable energy efficiency or solar? So a lot of it is an allocation, and based on how Americans utilize these credits is how those funds are going to fall in line.
Just a suggestion, you might want to include which incentives are refundable, not limited based on taxes owed. Is that like a direct payment?
Taxes owed or refundable, does that go into your tax liability and whether or not you are eligible for a tax credit? Everyone has their own unique circumstances. That question and tax questions specifically, I would revert to a tax professional. If you don't expect to owe any taxes, and if you do expect to owe taxes, there's going to be different circumstances. But that is a really good question that I can follow up to get a little more specifics as much as I can outside of being not a tax professional.
Yeah, it just came back and it said at the CEO website, it's just saying rebates from the Inflation Reduction Act are not currently available.
Okay, so and that's a good point. I'm glad that we touched on this. The Inflation Reduction Act, the Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, those three programs that we discussed, that is true. Those are not available right now. It's currently going through the process where these recipients are creating programs so folks like credit unions and community organizations and financial institutions can apply for these funds to flow down, and that's still in the process. These Colorado specific incentive programs are active right now. So really the good news is we're going to see, like, if we fast forward a year from now, we're going to be able to have a 2-hour webinar on all the different incentives and rebates available because there's just going to be more coming down the pipeline. So that's true. The Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund, those funds have not been, are not available yet, have not been allocated. Well, they've been allocated, but they haven't funneled down yet, per se.
Okay. Just a comment that the HEAR rebates are not flowing yet because the CEO hasn't finalized the program yet. And this, again, jibes up with some of the things. But the general, to sum this up, most of these programs are going to LMI eligible. And I think you mentioned it, always keep all of your receipts and everything, because in many cases, you'll be able to apply retroactively for the rebate, correct?
Yep.
So, okay. And let's just move on. Oh, here's a good question. How does a community go about getting a low interest loan for a community solar project? Do we contact a green bank or another lender, or do we have to wait until?
Yeah, that's the $1 million or $1 billion question right now. But when these funds flow down, these funds are going to be prioritized to low-income communities, to community projects. And right now, the programs are they're not fully baked. A lot of them have not been released, but whenever they come down the pipeline, there's going to be a lot of noise regarding them. But I don't believe that there isn't anything available currently for these low interest or 0% loans, but that's in the works. So keep an eye out, and whenever those announcements come out, make sure to research as much as possible into where you can take advantage of them in Colorado.
Yeah, and I thought I recall seeing an announcement that Colorado had made some grants with the Solar for All. I just don't remember the specifics on it. And it may not have been everything. It may have just been initial awardees. And of course, just a reminder, all the federal, the existing tax credits that are out there are available. It's just sort of the remaining GHG and other programs we're waiting for. And just some folks have put in, there's, Department of Energy has a rebate page, which I'm suspecting will be in the list. I know NRDC, there's a ton of stuff. So like anything, cross-reference as much as you can, because you might find a little extra nugget of savings. Today it was announced that Xcel has run out of rebate funds for this year by midsummer. When will they be offering $1,000 per kilowatt rebates for the new year?
That came out today.
Yep.
Interesting. Okay.
That might be a question to refer to Xcel.
And also for any questions or follow-ups, even if a question pops in your head, tonight or tomorrow or next week, I'm going to provide my personal email address. You can email me anytime, and I'd love to dive in and learn together. So that's sort of the exciting part. If you ask a question and I might not know the answer, we can learn together, which is exciting. There's going to be a lot of learning going on in the next few months and years as all these programs roll out.
Okay, here's a really good question and a really tough one. How do we engage an apartment complex we are renting from to look into these credits and programs to support green energy in a residence we don't own?
That's, first off, you're going to want to have a conversation with the landlord or the owner, engage, their interest. And, personally, what I would do is start that conversation with them. Let them see their interest, but also let them know that there's going to be more and more programs available for them to take advantage of. But it really starts with them. So there's going to be some resources and options, start that conversation now. Plant that seed. and see how it grows.
I'm going to just throw out a name on this really quickly. It's I say ICAST. It's ICAST. They're actually a not-for-profit, and they do really incredible work on multifamily rehabilitation. Many times it's income qualified housing, but they also do, I think they do projects anywhere because they also are kind of a job training program. And so they'll do all the, air sealing, windows, energy efficiency, mini splits for all the units, really, really neat stuff. And I think, they often can come in and kind of do kind of say, hey, here's a really good deal for you. And I know in some places, well, another thing to mention here are building performance standards in Colorado. And if you're in a really big multifamily unit, the bar keeps dropping down. Basically, landlords are going to need to upgrade their performance. And commercial buildings, this goes mainly building and multifamily. So if they're not willing to do it, they're going to have to do it. So hopefully they kind of, people get smart and jump, kind of say, I'm going to get ahead of this.
Yeah. And one thing I would also like to point out is, wasn't included in this presentation, but there are also some resources available for energy efficiency audits. If you want to have that conversation with your landlord, maybe they're a little hesitant, point them in the direction of some of these opportunities to have an energy efficiency audit for the building to see where they, where they're falling short or where they can save money in the long run. That might be a good conversation starter.
Okay, here's a good question. Are the EV credits available for plug-in hybrids?
Plug-in hybrids, I don't know if it's I don't believe so. Yeah, plug-in hybrids. I actually learned that plug-in hybrids are a thing probably a few months ago. I wasn't aware of plug-in hybrids, but I don't believe. That's a good question. I believe that there cannot be any combustible engine associated.
Off the top of my head, I'm thinking no, but
looks like from what I found on the internet is some all-electric and plug-in hybrid vehicles qualify for a $3,700 to $7,500 federal tax credits. Some. So it's going to be important to figure out which ones do and which ones don't. Some is a little, seems like there's a gray area there.
We might want to find if there's an official site that determines eligibility and get that in that list before we send it out. So that'll be a follow-up.
Okay, there's likely a certain level, certain standards that the car has to meet, I would imagine.
Just a statement that, federal incentives are not refundable, state ones are. Oh, I think there's a follow-up on the Excel question, and I think that's something that I just don't know. I'm going to go off of how Fort Collins works, because I'm in Fort Collins, and I know all the people that run the programs up here. The incentives are available from when they're available till they run out, and then typically with the city, they're budgeted, and they may not renew again on January 1. They may renew February or March when they're done approving their budget and everything gets hashed out. Once they get their budget on January 1, then they figure it out. So for the Excel question, I think the best thing to do would be to contact Excel, get on a list to where they can announce that for you. The other thing is, if you are working with a contractor, if you've got somebody that is a reputable installer, they will typically, they'll do this for you because they want to be that installer. So if you've kind of chosen your contractor, they're going to end up following up with you and have you on the list as basically a ready to go install.
Yeah, that's a great point to mention the fact that, take advantage of these programs now. Funding does run out for them. Don't wait. If you're too hesitant, you might have to wait until the next funding round and when they're available again.
Great. Just a comment here. An individual talked about they were able to get the Renew loan, which I think is a state subsidized loan for their PV and battery install last year. Is that, do you want to discuss what Renew is and make sure people are aware?
So Renew, believe offers lower financing options for folks. I don't have the exact number off the top of my head, but they definitely offer some lower cost financing loans for EVs and also a few other things. But I apologize, they were not.
That's a specific Colorado specific program, correct?
Yes.
Yeah, and it's RENU, so just so folks know. Oh, there was a comment on the rebates not being retroactive from the website, but I think that's existing rebates as opposed to new programs.
Which website?
A person has said, I don't think the IRA rebates are retroactive from what I saw on the Colorado website.
Okay, so if you bought your car last year, for example, or in or previously, and it all depends on when you file your taxes as well for that given year.
Yeah. Okay. Comment on direct payments for not-for-profits. We weren't. This wasn't really the focus of this discussion, but it's good to know. Okay, here's a good question. If you do not owe taxes in Colorado, it says your incentive will be refunded per the Colorado EV website. And again, that's the state level, and I guess it's a conversion to a direct payment. Because for federal taxes, you can roll forward your benefit, I believe, 2 to 3 years. Not sure.
I'm not sure the amount of years, but that is, another testament to the amazing incentives and programs in Colorado. Again, y'all, I live in South Carolina and I can't take advantage of these, and I am jealous.
Okay, somebody offered up a clarification on Excel. The fund that they ran short on was their commercial energy efficiency projects, not for residential. Now, I'm not sure about the solar one because those are typically kept a little separate. Oh, this is an interesting question. Are incentives for public chargers still requiring, have a requirement for additional handicap spots?
That is a great question. I did not run into that. And is that for commercial?
I'm assuming it would be. Yeah, it would have to be.
Okay. To be honest, I didn't really dive in too heavily into commercial incentives and rebates, and more for residential and individual homeowners. But that's a great question, and I would love to know the answer.
Oh, here's a great, somebody dropped in, the fueleconomy.gov website has the eligibility, will tell you which ones are eligible. And specifically it's
fueleconomy.gov, that's one I didn't run into.
And then / it's FEG/tax 2023.shtml. Yep.
No, these are great questions. Very insightful. And all that's cool about it is get to learn a little bit more after this presentation.
Or fueleconomy.gov, sir.
Fueleconomy.gov.
So just something I'm going to throw out there again, it goes without saying, here in Colorado, I think in almost every place, regardless of who your utility is, there are almost always programs to get energy assessments. And if you're thinking about heat pump, and I know a lot of people want to get rid of their gas furnace, as do I, get rid of your gas hot water heater. Hot water heater is a little bit easier, but heat pump conversion is a little bit more complex. You really want to look at and get an assessment or an actual audit. And in many cases, the assessments are free, and the audits may be subsidized to where there may be $100, but it will give you a roadmap and an understanding of, and the way many do it, and I'm going to use Fort Collins as an example, they really kind of say, here's your low-hanging fruit, here's a little bit more aggressive, and then here's the whole enchilada. And of course, Fort Collins does a great job. Qualified contractors, they manage the bids for you. You can literally choose a package, and we even have on-bill financing. So it's really, really, it's an example of a program of, leverage that assessment. You'll get really good advice, and it'll give you an idea of what is really going to have the most bang for the buck. It'll also let you know, hey, you know what? Before you get that heat pump, you really need to do air sealing. It's really going to be a lot better for you. Also, go to, if you can make it to the presentation down in Golden in 2 weeks, try to do that, because just talking with people at an in-person CREST meeting, people will tell you all their stories, all the speed bumps, and you can learn from their experiences. Plus, if you go to the crest-energy.org, go to our YouTube channel. I think Martin Volker down in JCREST, who's been asking some good questions, has had at least 2 really, really good presentations on individuals who converted their homes. And then we have several other heat pump related. So we've got lots of information so that you can be armed and you can kind of move forward. And then, of course, with heat pumps, vendor selection is really important. Having these personal discussions and getting some good recommendations gives you a couple of vendors you can call that actually want to do heat pumps. They're not going to try to talk you into something else because they don't know heat pumps very well. They just a lot of folks like to do what they do. So vendor selection is a really, really important thing.
With energy assessments, I wanted to throw out another nugget. A company that got to know, actually based out of Colorado, called Zero Homes. They offer a really, really cool app where you literally take your phone and you walk throughout your home, taking a video of your home in its entirety, and they will be able to give you a virtual assessment on how you can electrify your home. So also they're going to give you those different breakdowns, like the baseline level all the way up to the largest package. But really, really cool technology. So you can do an energy assessment in the privacy of your home. So yeah, I wanted to throw that out there. Zero Homes.
Great. And also a really good suggestion from Martin is to, if you're looking at EVs, explore the lease option, because there are some dealers where you can get a lease that's so low that your gas savings will, in essence, pay for it.
That's a great point.
Especially if you've got a good commute, and if you don't have, the upfront capital for that purchase, and maybe you're okay, I'm not sure about this, and if you have hesitancy and you need a new vehicle, this might be a way just to get in and not go so deep in terms of your capital outlay.
That's a great point. I'm thinking about moving back to Colorado for a few weeks to buy a car, and then maybe I'll drive it back to South Carolina. But just phenomenal opportunities.
Yeah, and we have a gentleman who does energy efficiency work for the Black Hills territories, and he said, yeah, that's what they do. So take advantage. Always start with your utility, because utilities have had a really vested interest in the energy efficiency for a long time, and they often will have a program for you. Just over the years I've seen, and again, I'm kind of just up here in northern Colorado between PVREA and Platte River and Energy Efficiency Works, Fort Collins, and so on. They've really dialed in the programs, and they've tried to make them just super easy, as consistent as they can, to just, they want you to make the changes, so they want to make the process as easy as possible. So the goal is to get your assessment, give you a roadmap, and then you can execute to the level of your comfort.
Love it.
So it looks like we've reached the end of the questions. Owen, I know it's nearly 9:30 where you are. Want to thank you again for doing the presentation, especially so late. And I, hopefully, we'll probably have to do this again next year to just get into newer incentives that have popped out. But the goal is, everyone you'll get the recording of this. We'll send out the links with the presentation, a lot of resources, do your homework, contact your utility, get that assessment. Obviously EVs don't need that, but do what you can do. If you're in that apartment, maybe EV, if you've got the ability for a short commute, e-bike, there are a lot of little things that you can do to have an impact. So
absolutely, well said. Thank you so much for having me. It's been an absolute honor. And yeah, I hope you all learned something and are able to take advantage of these amazing, amazing opportunities.
Okay, thanks again, Owen, and everyone, thanks again for joining. Have a great night, and we'll see you next time around.
Good night, y'all.